It is a daily occurrence or a nearly daily occurrence for every human being that has ever lived. For most creatures across the planet, it happens on an almost daily schedule. But it is not a time where we are ruled by the conscious self. No, we are subject to the undercurrents of the mind's eye. If you really think about it, it's something that's fairly terrifying. Every day you lay down and submit. Submit to what? Who's to say? Who is to say? It certainly is not you. Dan suggested that we have some Samuel Taylor Coleridge in the Dark Academia playlist here on the channel, and that's exactly what we are going to do today. Welcome to Strip Coverlet, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Fort, and we are here for another video, which will appear in two separate playlists here on the channel. Number one being the Poetry Discussion playlist, now nearing 800 videos strong, and number two being the Dark Academia playlist, a playlist where we go through different pieces of literature and look at the dark academic context for them. The poem in question today, The Pains of Sleep by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, and it reads as such. Ere on my bed my limbs I lay, it hath not been my use to pray with moving lips or bended knees, but silently, by slow degrees, my spirit I to love compose. In humble trust mine eyelids close with reverential resignation. No wish conceived, no thought expressed, only a sense of supplication, a sense o'er all my soul impressed, that I am weak, yet not unblessed, since in me, round me, everywhere, eternal strength and wisdom are. But yesternight I prayed aloud, in anguish and in agony, upstarting from the fiendish crowd of shapes and thoughts that tortured me, a lurid light, a trampling throng, a sense of intolerable wrong, and whom I scorned, those only strong, thirst of revenge, the powerless will, still baffled, yet burning still, desire with loathing strangely mixed, or wild or hateful objects fixed, fantastic passions, maddening brawl, and shame and terror over all. Deeds to be hid which were not hid, which all confused I could not know, whether I suffered or I did, for all seemed guilt, remorse, or woe, my own or others still the same, life-stifling fear, soul-stifling shame. So 2 nights passed. The night's dismay saddened or stunned the coming day. Sleep, the wide blessing, seemed to me distemper's worst calamity. The third night, when my own loud scream had waked me from my fiendish dream, overcome with sufferings strange and wild, I wept as I had been a child, and having thus by tears subdued my anguish to a milder mood, such punishments, I said, were due to nature's deepliest stained with sin, for I, in tempesting anew the unfathomable hell within, the horror of their deeds to view, to know and loathe, yet wish and do. Such griefs with such men well agree, but wherefore fall on me? To be loved is all I need, and whom I love indeed. Now, that is about as haunting an encapsulation of sleep as one could write. But where I want to start with this poem is actually where this poem ends. To be loved is all I need, and whom I love indeed. A little bit of a change of pace, a curveball at the end of this poem, but is it really? It seems to come kind of out of nowhere. It seems to be something that is appended onto this poem. But I would suggest that it is not. simply by asking the question, where is the beloved? The beloved is not in this poem. This is instead a poem of absence and longing. Is it that which terrorizes our speaker, that he is indeed alone? That our speaker is indeed by the self, not with anyone else? Where is the beloved in this poem? This poem is not about the beloved, it is without the beloved, and that is as dark academic a motif as I have ever heard. The poem in this second stanza, go all the way back up here. Long poem, that's what you can count on Coleridge for. But yesternight I prayed aloud. The speaker starts by saying normally his prayers are to himself, quiet, calm, but ventured out to pray aloud in this poem. Verbalized the prayer, incantated. I don't think that's a word. Put the prayer into incantation. Spoke it aloud. Only to be rewarded by torturous rest. Only to be rewarded by the self-conscious reminding our speaker, you are alone. You are without power. You are the same self you had been, that same self that is without the beloved. The poem is then spent largely regretting what the speaker feels he is, or perhaps more accurately, is not. Why is the speaker alone in this poem, longing for the beloved in this poem? Why is that? Our speaker seems to know. Our speaker does not seem to communicate the exact nature of why he is isolated. But it seems to be that our speaker is tortured by the subconscious in the realm of sleep because of what he is not. And he knows it. And he knows why. That's a torture. But yesternight I prayed aloud in anguish and in agony from upstarting from the fiendish crowd of shapes and thoughts that tortured me. A lurid light, a trampling throng, a sense of intolerable wrong, and whom I scorned. Those only strong. Thirst of revenge, the powerless will, still baffled, and yet burning still. Thirst of revenge is burning through the entirety of this sleep. Our speaker is not resting. Our speaker is sleeping. Our speaker is submitting. Our speaker is entombed in the subconscious during sleep, waking himself with a scream, waking himself by shouting out loud, the same out loud that the former prayer had been. Is this poem simply observing the escalation of emotion? The speaker starts by saying that I pray quietly, I pray to myself, I pray under the breath. Was he then formerly tortured under the breath by his sleep? He escalated that prayer to spoken word and was tortured to the point of spoken word. What was it that he awoke while screaming? Just an exasperation? The speaker treats sleep as all of his shortcomings approaching to rule over him in this second stanza. And they do. When he wakes, he is saying, I have the beloved. Not here, but I do hold that beloved in the mind's eye. I just need to be loved in return. We never see our speaker get that love. That is all I have for this poetry discussion. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting a like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other dark academics. And if you were here by chance but not design, literature is the only thing I talk about on this channel. There's poetry every Monday. There are 2 playlists and a video on the screen now that YouTube thinks you will enjoy. And as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.